I've got the draft up.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's do the
okay.
draft.
Do the
I'm
draft.
sorry. Just playing around there, guys. We are gonna have the draft between Reborn and Arctic Wolves here. Um, honestly, I said that I'd like to see Arctic Wolves move on to the semifinal, but quite honestly, I want to see both of them. I want to see both of them on day number 2 because that's where the real action starts in PCL. Again, I mean, we have
Yeah.
so many teams playing today. We had 26, I believe, sign up for this event, which is unreal,
Yeah.
unreal. Just
27 in total, which is
yeah,
great.
it's really great that you guys are showing up to play in the event, and we're trying to figure out ways that we can get more of the community involved in the matches, and there are a lot of different ways that we can do that. We're just trying to find the best way of trying to implement that. It's very important to us to try to build the scene, and you guys are a really big part of that. So thank you for becoming involved in the PCL. But right now, Notch, we have this draft between Reborn and Arctic Wolves, and we've got some bands.
We do have some bands. What are they?
We've got a Grux ban out from Reborn, and then Arctic Wolves, they'll take out the Decker.
So, I mean, good choice. Master Splinter is fantastic on Decker. That leaves Narbash open for Master Splinter, though. He's just a all around good support player. With the Reborn banning of Grux, that means they're taking, again, we talked about this earlier. Cosby is an absolutely insane Grux player. He's really strong on that hero. So they're taking that hero away from him. I feel like they're taking that hero away from him. Unless I ask them, we don't know 100%. But I feel like that's a respect ban, which means we're probably going to see Cosby on Severog, if I had to guess, and maybe Chofil back onto Chimera because of the early game strength we saw in that last game. But two really solid bands out of these guys, and I just think I think they're great bands.
They are great
Do we
bands.
see
That's
do we see
astute.
support picked up first, or do we see them go for their junglers first?
Um, well, with the Grux banned out, I don't really see a reason to go for a jungler so early because a lot of them tend to pale in comparison to him. So I think that puts a lot of priority onto the support here for Reborn. And taking a look at the pick, it's not a support at all. It's actually the Belko, so neither a support nor a jungler.
I mean, Solo Nazgul giving him a Bellica
Oh
is
yeah,
never a
okay,
bad
well,
decision. You
that
know what I
makes
mean? Like
sense.
he played Gadget last game and he played it well, but you give him Bellica, and watching Solo Nazgul play Bellica is insane. So Solo, pick your hero of choice right now, and of course he picks up the Bellica first. I mean, and it just makes the most sense to me. So Bellica right off the bat, which means Arctic Wolf is actually going to pick up their jungler and carry with the Severog pick and the Twin Blast pick. Um, Nadosic, I'm sorry, Survivor has been play. We watched him play this hero earlier today and did a really well job playing that hero. And of course, Severog, insane front line, really good gank potential, really good engage potential. Put a thermo bond on this hero, and this hero is unkillable. So great picks out of Arctic Wolves. Who does Reborn pick up? I mean, what are they going for offlane or support? Are they looking? They don't really need to pick up their carry because they know who's picked up. So who does Reborn pick up next?
Well, in terms of how these picks mesh together, I would assume that they pick up possibly a Greystone for like Reflect. They seem to favor him on that hero quite a bit. And we haven't seen any supports out of the pool yet, so maybe we actually see a Narbash very soon from Reborn. So
Yeah,
I'm not
makes the most
cheating.
sense.
I'm not
It makes
cheating.
it makes.
Those were actually guesses.
So we are going to see Greystone and Narbash picked up. I mean, reflect on Greystone. It allows him to be aggressive, allows him to really be a nuisance for for his team, and of course Narbash. I mean, one of the strongest supports in the game right now. It's Decker, then Narbash. So really good picks up from these guys. But who does that leave support wise for Arctic Wolves? Are we going to see Phasma picking up Richter,
Oh
or are we going to
boy.
see Phasma? Are we going to see Phasma picking up Muriel? Or I was going to say Steel again, but I just don't see anybody picking up Steel with the change to the radius.
You might want to take that word out of your vocabulary or something just for the next couple of months or something.
Ah, I love Steel. Fix your shit, Epic. Please
He's
fix
like our
it.
poster child or something. I'm actually so surprised that he's far away from the scene right now. But you know, he did have his spotlight for quite a while. I mean, remember those all those shield slams and the bull rushes all the way through. vexing the
Uh,
community for weeks.
I still want to see him played. We haven't seen him played in such a long time. But next pick for these guys, we're going to see Arctic Wolves pick up Howitzer and Kwong. So another off-lane Kwong. They will Crazy Cool will be on this here again. He did a really good job. I don't think he missed one tether. And of course, Vanilla Cutie, instead of picking up Gideon because they have ways to control him, he decides to go with the uh, howitzer pick instead. So far, really solid lineup for Arctic Wolves. I'm guessing Muriel or Richter pick, but we'll see in just a second. Who is Reborn going to pick up next?
Well, they still need their jungler, and they also need their ranger. So, um, they actually have a lot of different possibilities that they could have here. So I'm just gonna show you guys the picks. We see a Sparrow and a Chimera. There was a possibility that we could have seen a Yin, um, but I think against the big damage from Arctic Wolves, it's kind of unlikely that a hero that's trying to get in their faces so much like a Yin is likely to do very well here.
Yeah,
So they'll pick up the Sparrow instead. Damage from afar and some huge damage at that as well. We'll see what Nadosic can do on that hero. And also Chillfill's Chimera is going to rear its head once again here. So it's going to be a lot of fun from Reborn. May as well just show you the last pick of this draft. It's going to be that Muriel for Arctic Wolves.
I think that's a good pick. I can't. For me, Richter is a hero that in Phasma's hands looks incredible, but he's not playing, just a solo game. He's playing against Reborn, and there's some issues with that hero. Yes, you could pick up cards like Thermobond and Toxigel, but I feel like overall Phasma picking up the Muriel with those slows, the shields, and of course Reversal of Fortune really makes it. When they engage, expect them to be hyper aggressive when they engage onto Reborn. Good draft. Looking at these drafts though, Pith, who do you think wins? Based purely off of the drafts, who do you think has it right now?
On the draft, I'm gonna have to go with Reborn. I think that putting Nazgul rather on the Belka, it's one of his favorite heroes to play. I mean, he'll play a gadget, but he hates it. He's like, no, don't make me play gadget. It's terrible. I don't like playing her. She's boring. He'd much rather be on the LT. So he loves to play that hero, and I think that his performance along with the rest of his team are going to be enough to take them over Arctic Wolves. I mean, perhaps he's going to give teams a reason to ban out that Belka every single time if they have matches tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
you put me on the spot. I put you on the spot. Who do you got?
I like the engage the Reborn has with both Greystone and Narbash, and of course the ability of Chimera to jump into that back line and try and shut down Survivor and or. So looking at the drafts, I have to give it to Reborn, but I don't want to take anything away from Articles because they also have a pretty solid draft. The Muriel pick for me, I would have loved to see Phasma and Richter. I understand the Muriel pick, but purely off of the drafts and the control that Reborn provides with Seismic Assault, Thunk, Chimera's Leap, and Cole,
They call that
Greystone's
ambush around here.
Reforged. I'm going to call it his Leap and
Leap.
Cole combo. Assault the Gates and Reforged, I feel like they just have more control over on the side of Reborn, so I have to give it to Reborn. Ugh! Arctic Wolves, prove me wrong, boys. Prove
Come
me
on,
wrong,
boys.
boys.
You can do it. Well, whichever team loses this one is going to drop down into the lower final, which we'll be casting next. But Notch, let's quit John. Let's actually get a match on the screen. Let's start up in 3, 2, 1, go.
We did it. We're here, teams. We're 5 seconds into the game. We're going to see these teams pick up throwaway words, trash words. Epic stated this the other day. We know Vision's bad. We're working on it. Cam, I think a lot of people have said for a long time that Vision can be a little bit strong. You have these throwaway words in the beginning, which just gives you so much control over the map, allows you to farm safely, see if ganks are coming. Depending on how you ward, you can be a little bit aggressive in the enemy jungle. And that's exactly what these teams are going to do. They're posturing. They're waiting right now. They don't want to put them out too early and then get them cleared. So they're waiting. They're going to throw their wards. They're going to sell their wards, and then pick up your health pots, health tokens, strike tokens, keys, all keys. We haven't had keys in the game since Legacy. scythes and or siphons. And then get back into lane because at and just a couple 120 jungle is going to spawn and 130 will have minions out in lane here. So wards are down. These teams are out. Guys, over on the side of Reborn, we've got NATO sick, Rock and Sparrow, Reflect on Greystone, Chillfill in the jungle with Chimera, Solo Nazgul mid lane with Bellica, and Master Splinter. He doesn't have the good skin. Master Splinter playing Narbash.
Meanwhile, on the Arctic Wolves side, you know him, you love him. It's going to be Phasma playing the Muriel. Survivor already putting some huge damage on to Reflect. He's taking him quite low as a Greystone, nearly killing him off there. Could not quite get the job done. Cosby in the jungle playing the Sevrog. Crazy Fool will make a reappearance here as Kwong. And then finally Vanilla Cutie. Oh man, he's so cutie. He's got the howitzer in the mid lane.
So Reflect, like you said, took a little bit of damage. He's down to 50% right now. Survivor and Phasma being aggressive in this lane. I feel like the best way to deal with Greystone is be aggro. His damage early game is not the strongest. He doesn't have Reforged online yet.
Hold that thought, actually, because Seismic Assault is catching out Vanilla Cutie in the mid lane. Unfortunately, Chillfill couldn't really get it in range for the ambush. I have to imagine that was the howitzer being aware with the landmine to... Well, he's still at level 1. Does he have landmine leveled? Where is he?
He does have landmine leveled, yes.
Right, so... That's
the first ability he picked up.
Yeah, so that's probably why he managed to get away from that one, which is pretty apt of him. A lot of howitzer players would go for the R2000 first, but, you know, when you do need the mobility to get around away from the jungler, landmine is a really good pickup against the Chimera, rather, because he does need to get in range for an ambush in order to hit you. So it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think mid lane landmine on howitzer is a really safe choice, making sure nobody can leap onto you. The jungler comes out, and again, like you said, dealing with that ambush, it really can shut down Chimera a little bit, and you lose that gank potential that Chimera has on the mid lane here. So he'll have to look for a gank in other lanes. The big thing is they picked up both of those river buffs. I see Solo Nazgul with the green buff. Did he take? Excuse me. Did he take their green buff, or was?
I think he had to have, because we saw Chillfill walking around with his own green buff for a while, so it wouldn't have spawned back in, which means that Solo Nazgul did take the green buff away from Arctic Wolves. So nice bit of awareness there.
Yeah, I mean that just makes it so any gank potential they did. They took the green buff and one white camp. So until we see a rotation over here to clear that up, I think it's not going to be respawning for a little bit. So they pick up the green buff, deny that, and make sure so Cosby can't really come out and have that strength of that green buff to gank with that. So 4 minutes into the game, we've seen a little bit of aggression. We've seen no first blood just yet. I want to talk about Crazy Fool on this Kwong. A lot of people like Kwong in the jungle, and Kwong is fantastic in the jungle. Don't get me wrong, guys. But for me, I think he's a much better off-lane hero. I think he provides a lot. He provides a lot of control. He has good damage. He has great poke. And if a rotation comes for a gank, you land that tether, it makes it a little bit easier for your team to gank as well. So I really like this hero in that position. Very strong offlaner, and Crazy Fool plays Kwong really, really well.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have people that are so comfortable on the hero, his tankiness on the offlane as well makes it a pretty good pickup for Crazy Fool. And he's been showing us why in the past two matches. Well, in the last match as well as this one so far, hasn't died yet. Obviously, we're very early into the match, and he's already also going to be putting some pressure onto the red buff over here, taking that away. So Howitzer won't be getting any mana back from these river buffs, but Crazy Fool might find it easier to go through the jungle right now. That red buff almost looks like a black buff to me from far away.
It actually was a black buff.
Oh, okay. There you go.
It looked like it was spawning in red, but it actually was a black buff.
Oh yeah, so
like I thought for sure it was a red buff
system. So it shows the previous buff until the next one spawns. So I just kind of looked at the map for a while until You see it. Okay, well, things make sense now. I guess I'll have to change that in the future. But there's already a lot of pressure being put on the Reflect in the right lane right now from Survivor and Phasma going for the tower, and also Cosby coming around the backside. He's at level 3. Let's see how far they go for this one. Subjugate could be there. The Siphon's going to miss. Reflect up to the high ground. They're going to have to chase him a little bit more. The Subjugate is going to hit, though, and that's the first blood. Survivor hits it with the grenade, and they should also get the tower here. I don't really see any way that Reborn are going to be able to keep that up. And Arctic Wolves, this is what I've seen from them a couple times in their scrims. They're very aggressive, and the early rotation from Cosby secures the first blood onto Reflect.
I like the fact that they took this tower early. I would expect to see a switch, and you put Phasma and Survivor closer to the Raptors, which spawn at 10 minutes. So first blood on Reflect, you lose a tower. Great rotation from Cosby coming from behind there. Phasma did tank a lot of that tower damage. You do get to see the strength.
Seismic Assault, Cole on the mid lane. Howitzer into the Maker Rain, but he gets hit by the Neural Disruptor of Solo Nazgul. Takes him right out of the fight. And that's one of the reasons why Naz loves the LT. Works so well with the rest of his team. He hits those Seismic Assaults, and then from there, that's about all she wrote for the Howitzer. So, I mean, it's very easy to see when you have experienced players on a hero, and that's going to be the first strike back for Reborn, back to Arctic Wolves.
So river buffs spawning again. There was a purple buff on the map. Who took that?
Chimera has it right now, and they're dewarding with it.
They're dewarding, so I mean they were looking for Crazy Fool. They're not going to be able to get it. He's under the safety of his tower here. Chillphil is going to go farm the enemy jungle a little bit. Where is Cosby? Or I'm sorry, he's farming his jungle. That's my bad. So 7 minutes into the game, 7 minutes and 35 seconds into the game, we've got one tower down. We've got Raptors spawning in 2.5 minutes. Are we going to see gold buff and then them go for the Raptors? Are we going to see what is the call here? I mean, Raptors are so important early.
They are.
NATO Second Survivor want those Raptors. They want that card power. That's 2,400 card power every 4 minutes without the gold buff. It's such a huge advantage. I feel like we saw them do it earlier. At 9 minutes, they looked for a fight. At 10 minutes, they took the Raptors. Are we going to see the same thing out of Reborn, or do you think Arctic Wolves just has the control right now?
The thing is, I feel like Reborn aren't going to have much more control around this pit right now if Survivor continues to not rotate. Meanwhile, though, not sure if the rotation is going to matter. Colossal Blood onto Solo Nazgul at mid. They're going to both avoid the Seismic Assault, and Crazy Fool is ready with the sword. Gets it on the Naz. The damage could be there. Make It Rain, though, is going to force them around a little bit here, and it doesn't actually end up hitting onto anything useful. Vanilla Cutie just get himself out of possibly a bad situation. Meanwhile, though, Survivor, he's playing up against Reflect, getting some shields from the Muriel. They probably want to pop the Reforged here, but they have to be thinking what else is coming for Reborn, and that is Chillphil around the fog wall. Meanwhile, at mid, still Vanilla Cutie. He's going to drop down, take the missile over to the purple buff, and picks that up. And he seems to be taking...
Chillphil jumps in over into Survivor over here. Reflect and Chillphil are chasing him down. I mean, that ambush every 3 seconds. Survivor is going to fall to Chillphil. Rotation from Cosby. Reflect is very low. They are going to pop the Reforge onto Reflect. He is... I don't know if they're going to be able to pick up the skill. Cosby is just going to back off. Cosby and Phasma don't have the damage. They see the rotation coming from Solo Nazgul and Master Splinter in the mid lane, and they back off. Good rotation out of Cosby there. It was a little bit late, but it makes sure that Phasma does not fall. Yes, Survivor's down. They don't pick anything up off it. Raptors spawning in 20 seconds. Ooh. We're already starting to see a little bit of posturing around those Raptors with Vanilla Cutie. He is backing. They did place a couple wards there so they can see if that happened, but I mean, good kill from Chillphil. Ambush every 3 seconds. You know, I see it all the time. Nerf Chimera, nerf Chimera. He doesn't really need a nerf. You take away that ambush in 3 seconds, what does that hero really have right now? So good play out of Chillphil. And Raptors. Are we doing Raptors? Survivor.
Yeah, they're fighting around the pit right now. Chill Phil being knocked around by the landmine a little bit. Reflect wanted to come around the backside. I don't know if his ultimate isn't up right now. He's got that red shield on his back, so he's gonna be hit back with the colossal blow right into the middle of the Raptor pig, and there's a little bit of damage there for him. His game taking quite well. Kwong though, he's been stuck in too much right next to Native 6 arrows, and that's not really a good place for him at all. Ambush out on the Cosby. Chill Phil, he's gonna walk through the Maker Rain a little bit, taking a lot of damage. Survivor really wants to go here, but with the position of the Chimera at the back of the Raptor pit, it's tough to be able to get him without taking too much damage from Reborn, and Reborn managed to win the cage fight near the Raptor pit. And I think that's going to have to be it. Vanilla Q's going over
Yeah,
to
I think they're too low.
Anything. Yeah, everybody's just a bit too low.
They're
after
just
that fight.
too low.
Reflect. Actually, they did pick up.
Wow.
Cutie. Oh, man.
Vanilla Cutie, Neural Disruptor to the face, gets deleted off of the map there. We saw Cosby. He does land a Colossal Blow onto Reflect and, of course, the root, but there just wasn't enough follow-up. NATO Sick and team here are going to pick these up. NATO Sick gets the first Raptor. The rotation's coming, but it may be a little bit too late.
Oh, the Thunk. Phasma doesn't want to be there at all. Consecrate Ground comes through, gives him a little bit of shielding. I don't know if Reborn necessarily want to stay here too much longer. Chillphil has full health and mana. He's going to go right for Survivor. Cole is there. Can his team follow up? There's a Psychic Assault. Put him right back up the air. That's going to be a death on him. Now Crazy Fool in some trouble as well. Chillphil, he's taking a little bit of damage, but he's got those Spirit Regeneration stacks up there. And that should allow Reborn to finish up this first set of Raptors of the game, getting all of those card points and giving them over to their team.
2 kills and picking up the Raptors. Economical advantage goes to the side of Reborn there. They tried to go in and pick something up. I mean, Survivor is not a hero you want to lose. Survivor has been picked off twice so far, sitting at 16 card power. NATO 6 sitting at 19. Their farm is right when it comes to creep score, but we are starting to see an advantage for NATO 6 with those kills, and of course picking up 3 Raptors. Again, just such good counter engagement from Reborn. They, instead of standing there and just letting them come in, they're like, you know what, we can pick up kills here. We'll come back to Raptors. They pick up 2 kills and then re-engage on Raptors to give themselves an advantage. Reflect is going to be over here. He's farming a little bit. He's sitting at level 6. We've got Teleblink online for Solo Nazgul, so it can be aggressive. Vanilla Cutie picking up an early Thick Blood. Of course, your supports are picking up that Quenching Scales. Early game Quenching Scales is so strong, and we're seeing supports prioritize that as one of their first card choices. Of course, after wards, but going directly into a Quenching Scales and maxing that out. Reflect, yeah. Crazy Fool, boxing around a little bit over here. Who wins this fight, Kwong or Reflect?
I guess Reflect does if he does enough damage because he's got Reforged.
So, I mean, we're relying 100% on that ultimate there. Crazy Fool does have, it seems, to more damage coming out. He's able to bully him a little bit, but I feel like I would say Kwong is more of the bully in that particular fight unless you pop the Reforgers there.
I mean, it's good to take the Reforge down, especially when you're centered around the objectives. We've got a Prime spawning in a minute and 20 seconds, so if they can take that off of Reflects, he's still at level 7. So the play for Reborn around the pit would be, the OP pit rather, would be a little bit disrupted there. So it wouldn't be a bad thing for Kwong to be able to get that. So Reflect, he doesn't want to box for too long because he does want to keep his ultimate available, but at the same time, like, you don't want to allow Crazy Fool to have free reign on this lane. And
not at all.
Yeah, so while Reflect probably would win that with the Reforge on his side, honestly, Crazy Fool, he could still kind of be at the same kind of disadvantage because he could drop this whole kit onto the Greystone and still have to go back to base with maybe taking the Reforged off. Like, I don't think he actually kills him there. So, interesting fight there. Some might have called it a wet noodle fight with a lot of the legacy armor values floating around back then. But both of them are just going to try to keep some kind of equilibrium over the lane.
We've got River Buff spawning in about 10 seconds here. We have Arctic Wolves in a better position to pick those up. Cosby's already working his way down. The last River Buff, of course, was purple. Master Splinter going toward the Raptor pit. Purple buff is up. It does look like they're going to give that to Vanilla Cutie. And red buff went to Cosby on the other side. So river buff control right now for Arctic Wolves. They do have 3 there. Raptors spawning in about 30 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Expect another play around that Raptor pit. I think that's really what both of these teams are waiting for is Raptors at this point. Make sure lanes are set. Make sure there's a little bit of pressure. And then go make another play on Raptors. Try and pick up a kill, and then try and pick up those Raptors.
Well, it's also 15 minutes in the game, so OP is also up. So, I don't know. This would be an interesting kind of situation if a team decides to go for Raptors and then the other decides to go for OP. Clearly, in rock, paper, scissors, OP, Raptors, OP wins everything. So, it would be interesting if we came to that kind of situation.
You think Raptors taking Raptors or taking OP over Raptors? I mean, have we haven't really seen that yet. Like, I would love to see where it's like, okay, we know they're going to take Raptors at 60 at when they spawn, so everybody rotate over and pick up Orb Prime. That would be an interesting engagement there. We'll just let them have Raptors. We're going to take the Orb Prime. And then you're like, oh well, I guess we made the wrong call picking up Raptors
Right.
here. Solo Nazgul is in a lot of trouble. That landmine is going to knock. Seismic Assault does miss. So does the Subjugate. Solo Nazgul is going to be able to get out. I mean, the damage from landmine and an R2000 to the face, Solo Nazgul down to 50% health.
Yeah, but at the same time, he didn't end up dying, and you really do need to get that killing blow out onto the LT.
Well, they get him to back off. The big thing is that they get him to back off. They don't really need a killing blow if you go for Raptors. You put pressure, now it's a 4v5 engagement.
Is true. So yeah, they'll drop the Make It Rain onto it. They have huge damage from the Sevrog. I mean, these Raptors are quite easy to take, and just quick as a hat. They go in and take the Raptors in, what was that, 3 seconds? They got every single one of them.
Yeah, they Make It Rain dropped, and then they were gone. Before the full duration of Make It Rain.
I don't know. That's just way too fast. And we talked about speed running earlier. I wonder if somebody tries to speed run the Raptors or something. Because
did Survivor get those? Do we know?
What?
Did Survivor get all 3 of those? Crazy Fool and so much danger there.
Yeah, and even for Phasma to come in with the ROF, and Phasma's going to down the other side of it, Reflect is still doing a huge amount of work, just zoning away Arctic Wolves. And even without OP, Reborn are putting some pressure onto a tier 2 tower. Reflect's still hanging out around the back of it. They just need a minion wave to show up before he can come around the backside here. And Survivor doesn't even know about it. He'll use the Make Way to chase him a little bit. Doesn't want to lose his Reforge underneath the tower. And Cosby is going to fall. Survivor can't do anything about that one. And tier 2 tower will end up falling to Reborn. We've seen, well, I've seen these teams scrim quite a bit over the past couple of days or the past week. And Arctic Wolves, they actually did really well against Reborn, taking a couple of matches off of them. But this one, it seems to be a little bit more Reborn favored. And I think they might have learned quite a bit from their earlier scrims. And I don't think they're going to allow Arctic Wolves to have any kind of room on the OP right now.
No, they're going to instantly go for OP. That aggression under that tower. Oh, they're not. They're just going to back off. Low on mana. I believe they've got card power to spend. They do have some card. NATO 6 sitting 22 of 31. He's sitting on points right there. He definitely wants to back and sell those. But that aggression underneath that tier 1 tower, Chillphil instantly locking down Vanilla Cutie and picking him off there. Like they just went crazy, picking up a tier 2 tower. We have Arctic Wolves pretending to go for our prime.
Yeah, they were pretending. They couldn't get it down. And I think they might have just screwed themselves over even harder, because not only did they try to go for OP, but they also lost some HP on it, and that should open the door even more for Reborn to go for it. So not really committing to that call could end up hurting Arctic Wolves quite a bit in the long run.
So River Buff spawn, they're going to pick those up. We have Orb Primes going over to the side of I'm sorry, I said Survivor earlier. Orb Primes went over to the side of NATO 6.
Actually, check out this aggressive play over into Solo Nazgul. Blinking by Vanilla Cutie into the landmine, and they pick off Solo Nazgul. You noticed that his health was dropping down quite a bit earlier.
Crazy Bull's going to get picked up by NATO 6 in the other lane underneath the tower.
Crazy Bull being hyper. More of a fight.
Yeah, NATO 6 being really aggressive onto Crazy Fool. He's sitting on 33 card power, so he knows that he has the advantage. Pushes him under the tier 1 tower. picks up that kill, piercing shot to land that killing blow there. So we've got Vanilla Cutie or Solo Nazgul down on the side of Reborn, Crazy Fool down on the side of Arctic Wolves. I mean, you're not really going to go for Orb Prime after losing people like that. You would have had the advantage for Arctic Wolves with Solo Nazgul dying. Maybe we look for another pick and take the tower. But because you lost Crazy Fool, all you can do at this point is just back off and reset and wait for another little skirmish / engagement to go for that Orb Prime, because that's what these teams want. You pick up the Orb Prime. Orb Prime right now is really is how you win these games. Pick up the Orb Prime and you push. And that's what both of these teams are waiting for. And I expect to see more aggression around that pit, and then an Orb Prime push to victory.
While it's still, both teams really can't find a way to take down the big purple gummy bear. I keep going for that one. The low-hanging fruit. They just haven't really been able to find any kind of sustained pressure. The pickoffs haven't been good enough for them, unfortunately, haven't kept up enough HP while going for it. But meanwhile, Vanilla Cutie does get hit with the cold Neuro Disruption right away, not even giving him a chance to do anything after the Make It Rain, not even letting him drop down back to Earth. Phasma, oh, he says, Cosby, please help me out, man. And Cosby says, get out of here. Uses a Colossal Blow, but even with that, Reborn, they'll take the Raptors, and they could go for a little bit more. Cosby still moving around inside the jungle. Reborn take the Raptors, and OP's still available. Cosby seems to be going over in that direction, but Narbash might not want to let him get away. Uses the March. Oh, beautiful Subjugate out on the 3. You got to be kidding me with that one. He was hardly even looking, but still Cosby getting himself out of trouble there.
So they've got they're just Reborn taking away farm from Arctic Wolves, taking the green buffs, clearing up these jungle camps, positioning themselves possibly to take Orb Prime. Reflect is warding. He thought about taking it. I have a couple people in chat wanted to see builds. While we have a quick second, Chill Phil rocking a Quenching Scales, Guardian's Ward with health, Madstone Gem with Strike, and Guardian Scythe with Strike. And Crazy Fool, he's rocking that Adam and Edge build. Adam and Edge, just build power. And we see some posturing around this. They know it's going to happen. Arctic Wolves knows Reborn wants this Orb Prime, and they have to contest. And
Phasma in a weird place. He tried to get some kind of a flank as a support. He's taken a lot of damage from just like one piercing shot from Sparrow, and Naz goes forward, gets a Neuro Disruption. I don't even know what Phasma was doing there. Hyper aggressive from him, but I just don't know what a support was doing on the flank there, and that's a pretty big tool for Arctic Wolves to lose here. Might even open up the door for Reborn's OP try.
I mean, you're down a support, and you 4v5 engagement. They have a lead. NATO 6 sitting at again 39 card power.
Nice subjugate once again by Cosby. Crazy Fool's gonna get jumped up on, and he's the Klong. Throws out as much damage as possible, but it's not going to be enough. And now Solo Nazgul on the backside of the Vanilla Cutie. Landmine, it's going to knock them both in the same direction. Make It Rain forced out then to get the howitzer away. He's going to drop down elsewhere. But, you know, with the Make It Rain being down, it's a lot of ultimates used by Arctic Wolves. They're just going to... We're going to see Reborn go right into OP. And with the zoning now available from Reborn, I just don't really see them getting into this one at all. Subjugate by Cosby on to 1, taking Reflect a little bit lower. But I just still don't really see anything going well here for Arctic Wolves. They'll lose out on the OP to Reborn. Reflect still moving forward. Will get slowed down by the slowing grenades a little bit. But Reborn in a really good position to go for an inhib right now. And the menu wave in prime position for him. Get it? Prime orb, prime buff, prime position to take the sorry, I tried too hard on that one. Inhib in a lot of trouble. Arctic Wolves know they can't defend it. And Phasma is back, but Vanilla Cutie unfortunately...
Vanilla Cutie just deleted.
Soloed by Solo Nazgul, outboxed, outplayed, and it might be Reborn taking the outmatch here against Arctic Wolves, blowing up Crazy Fool with the Cull, Reflect, moving through. This is a Reborn squad without their stalwart leader, Jay Leo, but it doesn't really seem like they're feeling the effects of it at all, easily taking this game in 24.5 minutes over Arctic Wolves.
Reborn is just playing friggin' out of their mind. They're playing out of their mind. The first game was 17 minutes. Second game was 24.5 minutes. Just, I don't even... at that point, so what cost this game was Phasma being out of position. I don't know if Phasma was going in to try and help Survivor if he thought Survivor was going to get caught out, but they picked up Phasma. They then rotated. They picked up a kill onto Crazy Fool, who was also out of position. Cosby did land that two-person subjugate, but it just didn't matter. And then they take Orb Prime. Pick up Orb Prime. You've got the strength of Death Touch. You've got the strength of the regen. You have the strength of the card itself, the extra damage and the extra power. And they just push to win. Vanilla Cutie, Seismic Assault, Void Bomb, Neural Disruptor, and that hero was dead. Really nothing that Articles could do at that point. And they end up losing that game. Reborn will be moving on to the semifinals tomorrow. Arctic Wolves dropping down to that losers bracket. Reborn looks like the team to beat right now. They are not last weekend. I'm sorry, 2 weekends ago they just played out of their mind, and again they're playing really well, and they look like the team that could possibly take this PCL this weekend. Guys, if you